I may have to step back because I
Okay.
started this company, this second one, because we were in 2020, everything was on fire. Like I live in California.
Literally.
The
Facts.
sky was
Oh my
on
God.
fire, everything. We had red skies. It was
Hmm.
apocalyptic. And then of course we had our racial reckoning happening in the streets.
Hmm.
So for me, it was like you just had this moment of not really knowing like what is my role in all of this? Like where do I have where can I have the most impact? And then
Hmm.
immediately after that, you see a bunch of companies coming out saying 5 million to BLM or um, net zero or we're done using plastic, whatever, like a bunch of crap.
Right. Make it state.
And
Right. Right. Right.
yeah, they're trying to
It's
make a
thoughtful.
statement. Yeah. And I was just completely cynical. I was like, they're not going to stick by this.
We have Jada Mclean. This is our figuring shit out episode 38, I believe.
38, right?
Um, yeah, that's how old I am. Goddamn. Anyway, moving along.
Oh,
I
guy,
am
what up?
Bunny Flux. Check out my sites. You got bunnyflux.com, Lose Perspective. We got silversyndicate.org. We have King Arthur in the building. What's going on?
What up, guy? You know what time it is, man. Unify and Thrive. Y'all know what time it is. Check out the sites. 2020 Faces about to hit the streets big this year, man. And then Cuddy at revamping. So Frank, bring us in,
Right.
bro. We got going on today.
We got Miss Jada Mclean. Looking at her bio, it says we're gonna have a lot of questions because your bio comes in with recovering investment banker. So I want to talk about that. But you're the CEO of Ethically Shopper, right?
Mhm.
Doing big things. We definitely want to speak with you, get to learn about what you're working on, what your company's about. Tell us, go through your journey and see how that. And then you have Hurry Home, which is a fintech startup. So we want to talk about that for sure. So if you can
Awesome.
give us a brief bio of yourself and then your figuring shit out moment.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So thanks so much for having me, guys. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it. It's always fun to talk about the journey. And hopefully it inspires someone else to do it, take a risk and, jump.
Facts.
Um, but yeah, I guess am I started my career in investment banking. I spent a couple years on Wall Street and
Ooh,
which is kind of wild. So I kind of say this like corny line usually. I say like between late nights and spreadsheets, I demystified the career of an entrepreneur because I came
right.
from an immigrant family. So an
Okay.
immigrant family didn't know first person in my family born in the States. My family's from Jamaica.
Nice.
So it was really we didn't know anything about anything, like fresh off the boat, basically.
Right, right.
And I went to school and learned a lot about the world out there and decided that I started looking at all the people I was advising. So I don't know maybe how much the audience knows about like the real investment banking, but it's
We don't know
terrible.
anything.
At
Yeah,
all.
it's
We figuring
Tell us
terrible.
shit
all.
out. Okay. So
Yeah,
so what's the secrets?
it's an amazing career because it gives you clout, like looking
Mhm.
like we do when we walk into rooms, people automatically discount what we say. And but but as soon as I'm like, hey, yeah, I'm a former investment banker, they're like, oh yeah, she knows what she's talking about.
Right.
And then it kind of just gives me another validation point, which is awesome. But you pay for it because you spend 14 hours, 16 hours working for someone else, helping them make their
Mhm.
millions. Meanwhile, you're making, a small
Right.
fraction of that.
That's most of us
Um,
right here.
yeah, yeah,
Absolutely, yeah.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I spent a couple of years doing that. And I started looking at the guys that I was helping and advising. And I'm like, you guys are not that smart. What am I doing?
Hmm.
Why am I
Hmm.
wasting my energy, my 16 hours a day, tired as hell, dead tired, coming in, making you guys millions? How does that
Hmm.
make any sense? Leaving nothing for me. So it
Right.
became very clear to me that I was like, even though, I was making pretty good money, but it was like, there's no reason to stay here. I'm discounting my abilities. I'm discounting my potential. So I quit and left my
Thanks.
6-figure job
Right.
and went to making zero for the next 2 years.
So was that your figuring shit out moment? Like you was, because I think most of us have that real, like even now, like I'm a W-2 employee, but I have my other things on the side. But it's like we all at some point, like we're working for somebody else, making someone else money, right? So was that your moment where you was like, you left it all behind to pursue, I think we said social impact entrepreneur, you turned social impact entrepreneur. What is that?
Yeah, social impact means I only build companies that are going to have an impact on the world or the community. So, Hurry Home, my first company was I created a financial product. I created a mechanism for people to buy the house that they're renting because a lot of people can't get mortgages because really the system's fucked up and doesn't allow people to get mortgages. There needs to be other mechanisms. So, I created one. Hurry Home was my first one. So, I left investment banking and I started that first and didn't know what I was doing. I just was throwing spaghetti at the wall. I was like, I'm going to figure it out. And ultimately landed on a company that, I mean, it's crazy what happens when you start to believe in yourself and like commit
For real.
and like lean in, like lean into what your role is in this world.
Right.
And really step into that. Because as soon as I did that, I start like, you start shining. Like I started this company. We didn't raise an incredible amount of money, but I raised money from investors. I got to sit down with Melinda Gates and talk to her
Dope.
about my company and what I'm building. And
That's
it's
dope.
crazy.
That's
So how do you go from, so let's say you're talking to a family that they've been renting their whole life. They don't really know, they don't know of a way to buy to own. How do you take them from being renters to, I guess, bringing them to buyers or renting or owning the house, the property that they were renting? Like, what does that process look like?
Yeah. So this one was, so I don't know if you guys know this, but there's a mechanism that's been around for a really, really long time. It's called like a land contract or basically rent to own. A lot of people do rent to owns. So what we did is we knew that rent to owns are typically very bad. Usually they end up terrible because the person that's doing it is trying to rob, the person living in the house.
Oh, so it's a scammy type of thing.
It's usually a scammy type of thing. Exactly. Or it's gotten its name as that because of bad actors. So what we did was actually we created that rent to own, but we surrounded it with contracts. So when you surround it with contracts that are actually more friendly to the resident, we were able to allow the resident and people, they understood like, oh, I'm just renting. All I'm doing is renting and paying a little bit more each month. And that little bit more goes towards the purchase price of the house. So then after 10 years, they have now created a savings fund of the whole price of the house.
Okay.
Do these people like have to qualify for a program like this, or can anybody get into something like this, or what? So.
Yeah, it was. So what we did is I actually started in the Midwest. I spent about 8 months in South Bend, Indiana, researching the problem because I found out that it was. You guys, let me know if I'm ever. My banker brain sometimes goes over.
No, we love that.
So,
Go to the banker brain. Go to the banker brain. That's gonna be dope.
I looking at the banks and post the financial crisis, the 2008 depression, recession, Great Recession. We realized that banks are not willing to write mortgages for houses that are under $100,000. And
as as for residential, you mean?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Gotcha.
For residential, because for them, it costs them the same amount to underwrite any value mortgage.
Right.
But with the smaller mortgages, obviously they only make a percentage of that loan. And the percentage of $100,000 is a lot less than a percentage of, the 500,000, which is closer to the average of the United States.
Right. Thanks.
But so for us, it was how do we create something that still uses kind of like the regular qualification, not credit score, because I don't really believe in credit score, but
I don't
uses
either.
your rental track record. So uses if
Right.
you've been paying rent. For us, it was if you've been paying rent on time for the past 24 months, then it is likely that you're going to continue to pay your rent on time. So why am I using your credit
Credit
score
score.
as
Right.
the qualifier? That doesn't really make any
And
sense to
and
me.
and not to cut you off, most people that pay rent, they're already paying the mortgage plus a little more on top of
Exactly.
that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So like you can afford the mortgage plus $400, $500, $600 more. Why you can, but go ahead. I
And
digress.
exactly why you can save for the house that you're living
Right.
in. If you wanted
Right.
it, right? You can save that extra money. And then instead of just throwing your money in the trash, then you now are building towards ownership.
There is a stigma in the psyche of the people where it's like they don't know. Like there are these programs, a lot of people don't even know they exist. And then on the other side of that, they don't know they have the power to search or the power to even seek out other things. Like I came from a family, we rented all our lives. My whole entire childhood into my 20s, mid-20s, we were just renters,
Yeah.
blowing money, paying whoever mortgage, the projects, wherever we rented from, the townhouse or whatever. And it's just something you grow up with. You never think, oh, one day I could buy a house, so this is dope
Yep.
to for people to hear about, to know.
I think my experience is kind of different. Like both my grandparents owned their house and had all their children in the house, but
Or
only a few of their children went on to be homeowners, right? So,
Right.
How are you getting
Am
your message
I
out to people
building awareness?
who,
Okay.
yes,
Yeah, we did it. Well, we actually, this is, as I'm sure you can probably imagine, fighting the mortgage system is not an easy job.
right.
So there was a lot of red tape. It was really, really, really tough to get this really to get all the buy-in from all the necessary agencies. So we
Mm-hmm.
could only start in really one city at a time. So we were only really in Indiana, because to go from state, to even go from county to county, there are
Mm-hmm.
different laws.
right.
So it's kind of tough. All of it's intertwined, the whole system, and it's so tough to really just break it apart. It's a David and Goliath situation.
Oh, for
That's really
sure.
what it is.
If there were to be a crash, how would it affect the rent to own program? Like,
Mm.
I guess that's a question that's probably more relatable
Yeah.
to the situation.
Yeah. So for us, actually, we had to, because of the pandemic, we
Right.
had to stop this company.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I had to walk away from it. It ultimately failed. It couldn't survive during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And that was because, our company ran out of money. People were not moving because people were uncertain of where their money was coming from, their rent money is
Right.
coming from.
Right.
People were just didn't have any confidence. So I think for us, it really sucks because I would have loved to deliver this type of product to hundreds of thousands of families that I think could benefit from it. But ultimately we couldn't, because there's just no, I mean, there's no confidence
Yeah.
in the market back when the pandemic. Well, there are a lot of programs out there, and I actually have been able to help my family through some now that
Dope.
I've learned a lot about the system. But there's so many programs out there if you wanted to pay 0% down. It depends.
True.
They're state by state. But you probably likely do need a minimum credit score of like 620.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have like 620, you don't have too much debt
Mm-hmm.
where you could afford, to spend about 30% of your income on a mortgage, and then you'll be pretty good. You can find a 0% down if you're lucky, depending on the state.
Dope.
And if there's also federal programs with like the 3% down, which is pretty good as well. As long as you have a 620 credit score, you can get it. Yeah, there's some programs out there. It takes a little bit of elbow grease, but
Facts.
they're definitely worth looking into.
Are you new in town or need a fresh cut on the fly? Let me show you a convenient way to hire a mobile hair care pro now. Simply download the Cuddy app from the App Store. Create a profile and have access to professional mobile barbers and stylists in your area. Cuddy app allows you to browse for hair care professionals 24/7. View their profile and share your locations to find the nearest one. Once you've found the perfect pro with just a click of a button, have a professional meet you in a matter of minutes. This means no more worrying about running late, waiting for the next chair to open, or missing your appointment completely. Reclaim your valuable time and put your mind at ease knowing your hair care pro is on the way. Cuddy app is the only place to hire a hair care pro whenever you are ready, wherever you are. Cuddy app. Join the revolution today.
I want to talk about, let's get into ethically shopping, right? Because you mentioned being a social impact entrepreneur. As far as being an ethical shopper, well, first off, let's start here. What is an
Yeah.
ethical shopper?
Yeah.
For the people
So
that
I
don't
mean,
know.
I may have to step back because I
Okay.
started this company, this second one, because we were in 2020. Everything was on fire. Like, I live in California.
Literally.
The
Facts.
sky was
Oh my
on
God.
fire. Everything. We had red skies. It was apocalyptic. And then, of course, we had our racial reckoning happening in the streets. So for me, it was like, you just had this moment of not really knowing, like, what is my role in all of this? Like, where can I have the most impact? And then immediately after that, you see a bunch of companies coming out saying 5 million to BLM, or net zero, or we're done using plastic, whatever, like a bunch of crap.
Right. Make a state.
And
Right.
yeah, they're trying to make a
thoughtful.
statement. Yeah. And I was just completely cynical. I was like, they're not going to stick by this. And so
It
I wanted
was,
to
yeah, it
create.
seemed very seasonal, right?
Exactly. So I wanted to create something that would put the power back into the consumer's hands, because I spend money every day. You spend money every day. But what if I could very easily, just as easily, I go to a Walmart and pick up a bag of chips, just as easily find a bag of chips that's Black owned, or a bag of chips that's not in plastic. Like,
Right.
how would I then change my spending? I probably actually end up choosing the companies and the brands that share my same mission, share my same values, share my same
Right.
beliefs. But the issue is that it's not easy. So I set out to build something that made it easy. So where you go,
Oh.
if you have this app, you scan a product and you tell us what you care about. May that be Black owned, may that be women owned, may that be no plastic,
Right.
whatever it is.
Environmental,
And we'll
yeah.
show you products that match those values as closely as possible, and
That's
where you can
dope.
purchase them.
That's actually super dope. So I guess, how do you vet a product or a company to determine if it stands by the values that you're looking for? So for instance, if you want to buy products that are environmental friendly, right? And like we said already, companies were coming out making statements, but we didn't necessarily believe it. We don't know if they were true or not, or they were just trying to be seasonal. What's the vetting process like? Or do we just go by what the company says and say, well, they say they care about the environment, so let's put them in the environment friendly section?
No, I don't believe that. Yeah, what
Okay.
we do is actually we do the research ourselves. But the foundation of the research is based on certifications. So there's a lot of certifications out there that some are not great, but then some are pretty good.
Nice.
And then also by the product characteristics. Like, there's a clear difference between a product that's in plastic, a product that is in carton, in like aluminum. Very clear difference. So we just make it very easily to sift through the thousands of products, I mean, tens of thousands of products on the market, to find the one that is probably aluminum, versus you having to Google and search and figure out, like, where is this? Where can I buy it? Is it actually aluminum? Is it not aluminum? You know, that kind of stuff.
That would be dope. And you know what? Because something I'm into, or I've been trying to get into recently, is like a lot of health type of things. So
yeah.
Something that I would probably be concerned about or care about is like safety stuff. Like so for instance, I used to use Degree all the time, Degree deodorant, but it has aluminum. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now I moved on to this what the fuck is it called? It's all natural deodorant, right? It doesn't have aluminum and chemicals and all this stuff. And I care about that. I believe it's good for the environment, but it's also good for me, right? So it's not putting chemicals and shit on me. So that is something I would care about. Like, okay, safety products, right? Like
clean ingredients is what we'd say.
Right. Okay, that's what it's called. Okay, let me write that down. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Clean ingredients.
Yeah.
And probably for food too, like, because I don't know. Okay, so on the news, this was like today or yesterday. What was it? One of these orange juice companies. King, you might have heard it.
I think it was it was a Pepsi owned company.
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola on them. Yeah. So
One of these
Like
orange juice.
Sunkist, no, Simply.
one of them oranges. Simply.
Simply
Yeah.
Orange, yeah.
Yeah.
They're getting sued now for having these crazy chemicals in their drinks, right? And
Wow.
it's like, you know,
And they're supposed to be simply natural.
orange,
Yeah.
yeah. And then
Yeah.
so, and that's the kind of things you can run into, right? Like, well, they say one thing and they're doing another thing.
Yep.
Like even this deodorant that I'm buying now, I don't know. I mean, that's how they market it.
Yep.
It's I could look at the ingredients. It says it has all this natural shit. I don't freaking know. But I guess for state of mind,
Right.
I feel better about using it. But that's something I would care about.
How do you gauge that? Yeah, how do you gauge that? How do you keep your thumb on that to make sure your product is staying that way, right? And you know,
I mean, we have to have researchers that are
Right.
constantly updating it, every couple months, basically. I mean, ultimately, we've just started this, or I just started this company about a year ago. So we've been heavily
That's
built in
dope.
build mode. But ultimately the dream would be to have an army of researchers that are updating this once a month
That'll be
and that
dope.
are, checking this stuff out. But it's really probably users as well, like the people that are like, I don't want to have aluminum in my deodorant. And maybe one person goes on a deep dive and is like, oh, wait, it looks like they changed their formula. Hey, it looks like they
Right.
have because I think the issues we're talking about here are community issues. It should
Mhm.
not fall on only one person or one organization. Like it's
Right.
really all of our responsibility. But even so, when we all work on it together, it's way less of a burden. It's
That's
just
true.
so much easier.
That's definitely true. I think it's Sasquatch. I remember now. Sasquatch. I think
Yeah.
the deodorant.
Oh,
Sasquatch.
interesting.
Yeah.
I don't
Sasquatch.
think I buy that.
I don't know why they call it Sasquatch. It's kind of like the
Sasquatch
logo. Yeah, it's like a
strength, maybe.
monster looking thing or something. I don't
Man,
know.
that's crazy. So look,
But that,
like, no, she was talking about research and development earlier. Like, that's kind of costly, isn't it? Right. So, and you've talked about running out of money before. I've experienced the business running out of money, right? So, what is your business model? How are you getting money? Like, how do you plan on growing and keeping this up? Doesn't sound cheap.
Yeah, I don't think it will be cheap. But so I guess up until now, I have investors. I actually raised about $1.3 million from Silicon Valley investors, and they're funding the company up until I figure out how I'm going to make money.
Right.
But the how we're thinking about making money or now starting to pursue is by kind of essentially this like challenge or action model where a brand, I think a good example is, say you scanned a water bottle as a consumer. What we will tell you is, yes, there's different alternatives for water bottles, but we'll also give you a recommendation. And that recommendation will say, actually, if you switch to a water filter, then you would not only save money, but also you would no longer have to use plastic. And then maybe one of the brands that we approve of would sponsor that. And then if someone purchased that water filter, then we would be able to make money there.
That's dope.
Okay.
And then there's also, I mean, if you have an app, right? I mean, this is probably one of the basic things like advertisement, ads on the app.
Yeah.
And then the
I'd
other
say
thing
that's a
is,
form of the ad. That's a
yeah,
form of
yeah.
ad, I'd say. But it's
And then,
kind of putting guardrails around it, because I wouldn't
right.
just put a random ad there.
Oh, yeah. There probably did particular ad networks that you would want to use, or like you said, get sponsorships from particular companies.
Yeah.
But then with everything, right, with the more users using an app, there's costs on the app side and the technology side. But maybe there could be some incentive if they use it to scan something, and they buy that product. Maybe there's a kickback or commission. I don't know. I'm shooting off the cuff here. We're just trying to figure shit out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we could do that as well. That you can always get if we introduce someone to a new brand, then usually brands will want to give you
right. They could
some
be like
revenue share.
Suggestions, or like for me, if let's say I had just learned that most of those deodorants are poison, and I got your app and I'm looking for a safe alternative, that's when Sasquatch could come an ad or something, or hey, this Sasquatch, no aluminum, no crazy chemicals, yada yada yada. Go
Exactly.
get this. So that'd be dope. I
Okay.
think that's dope.
Would you ever like do the Walmart play? A great value, everything, right? So, white label, some stuff that's you sell them as your own, right? You said you are suggesting
Government
recommendations,
government
right?
cheese.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
'cause Walmart got a great value
Mm,
for anything. I've seen a great value toaster.
they do have great value, everything. It's very, very true. And private label is very lucrative. I'm not going to say it isn't, but I don't really want to deal in a marketplace. I don't want to be a marketplace. I just want, honestly, what I want to do is amplify all these amazing small up and coming brands that are really out there doing the work and trying to make the world and people better off, and then let the big brands stay behind. That's really what I want to do. So
Right.
if I can like move every single person to like, for example, this is my deodorant. Hey Humans, they're actually not that small anymore, but you know, they used to be small. And like I love it. And they're affordable. It's like I want to tell the whole world about Hey Humans. But like, will I tell the whole world about Secret? No.
So
that's a
would
good.
you say in 10 years this will be a hub for ESG?
I don't mean what's ESG? I keep saying ESG. What's ESG?
ESG. ESG is like another acronym really in the financial world, but it's environment, social responsibility, and governance. So it
Oh,
really
see, okay.
stands for, it's usually used to filter the, actually it was more as a risk management. It was like
Mm-hmm.
if you invest in companies that pay attention to environmental ramifications, social responsibility, and governance, then usually they're a better company to invest in because they're making sure that there's less risk,
Right.
like less risk of being sued, less risk of
Okay,
like
okay.
the stuff
Harming
on
the
the
planet.
news.
Yeah.
Yeah, all
Right.
that
No,
kind
okay,
of
I got
stuff.
you. I got you.
Toxic. But
But
yeah, but
it came
now,
about because a lot of people were like set like back in the day were saying they were, and then when they
Right.
really like dug deep in their books, they was like, bro, you're buying from Japan, you're
yeah,
stealing working from India, and
Dumping
taking
toxic
advantage of.
waste in the lakes.
And then they came up with
exactly.
this acronym, and
Yeah,
This is
it's
why
just
we
big.
had Captain Planet. Nobody was listening.
yeah.
It was just for us. It wasn't for them. It was for us.
It was literally for us. Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Okay.
Just like carbon footprint. A carbon footprint was that you as a consumer calculating your carbon footprint was created by the oil and gas companies.
I believe that 1,000%. Let's talk about so like because it says you were recognized as a Forbes 30 under 30. I think that's super dope. Congratulations. I think that's commendable.
Thanks.
How did that feel? How did that come about?
What does that
And
look like?
right. I mean, I can't get it now. I'm 38, but maybe I could get 40
I just turned
something. I
36. I
don't
got 4 years. Bro. That's my average.
right.
Yeah.
I think that's super dope.
Thanks. Yeah. It was, so it was funny. So the beginning of 2022, I wrote down like 3 big goals in my journal, and I probably have it like right here somewhere. You probably can see it. Let's see if it's this one. And I journal every morning. So this is
Oh,
like
that's dope.
one of my, let's see if you guys can see it. Can you read it?
Oh, is that a bullet journal? I got one of those.
But why your
Yeah.
Or
handwriting so perfect?
I got a
Yeah.
bullet
So
journal.
That
these are
shit
my
look
goals I
amazing.
wrote down in the
And mine's
beginning
just
of
trash.
January
You can't read
2022.
mine.
Mine over there too. I got some.
Yeah.
Y'all ain't
And
stunting on me.
it says, I am going to be
Oh,
Forbes 30
wow.
under 30. I am going to raise 1 million from VCs, and I'm going to reach $1 million run rate. Isn't that
Wow.
hilarious?
And you did all of those.
I did. Well, not the third one I didn't do,
Oh,
but
okay.
I did 2.
Look,
I
you
did
know,
2 out of 3, which
That's
is
dope.
awesome. Yeah.
do you got to apply for that or something? Like, yeah, go ahead, go into it.
I got a what?
I said, do you have to apply for that or something? Talk more about
You have to
that.
get nominated.
Nominated, all right.
Yeah.
Oh,
So you have to get nominated by someone else that's gotten it like in the past, and they have to vouch for you basically. And then it goes through like some screening committee or whatever, because it's like thousands of people get nominated, and then they choose who gets it. Yeah, it's cool. It was a really amazing accomplishment. I'm really proud of myself. Probably the first time I've been super proud of myself.
that's
I
dope.
need better friends, Frank.
We working
And
on
you
that.
better.
That's why we talking to her now. We were
Oh, I got
networking.
it.
This is the purpose of this podcast. We figuring shit out. We
You
finding
figure shit
people
out,
that
yeah.
right. We
You
finding
have to
people that
ask.
figured it out.
Yeah,
Right. So now that
you
we
have to
know
ask.
one, like I said, we're not 30, right? We blew past 30. So I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe there'll be
Is it like 30, is it like 40? You get to like 40 or no? Or is that
Probably not.
40 under
I
40?
don't know. I don't know, but
Uh,
the states, like I know there's like time 40 under 40 or something like that, or 50 under 50.
Well, I
and
mean, we still 30.
there's a
I'm in my
bunch.
30s. We still
Yeah,
in our
there's a bunch
30s,
of
King.
others. There's a
Yeah.
bunch of others. There's like cranes is another one. Cranes something. I
I
don't
never
know.
thought about getting on any of those, dog. I always
Yeah.
thought about just
So this,
getting on it and making a decent business. Go ahead.
what you gotta do is write it in the book like she did. Write it in the book.
Oh,
Yeah, you didn't do that. That's why you didn't get it yet. So that's what I'm gonna write. I'm gonna write a list to be on, and then I'm gonna get it.
And
Then I
then
can
you're gonna
show
get it.
people that I did what I had to do. So
Yeah.
that's
I mean, it
pretty
just
dope.
keeps you focused, right? You see it every day. So you're like, oh yeah, just a little reminder. But yeah.
I am big into writing. I am big into journaling.
Yeah.
So I can see it. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what's
you
up.
could do it. Just find a 40 under 40 list, and you got time. You got a
Don't
lot
make
of
one to
time.
put myself up here. Fuck it.
And then you put me on there, and then we could be the
Yeah,
first
we
two.
banging. Yeah.
That's what's
Easy
up.
money.
Are you looking for a media agency that covers all the creative tasks that make a business successful? Lucid Perspective produces elegant, high-resolution graphics and logos, high-definition and 4K video, complete with treatment concepts and innovative editing. Lucid Perspective provides photography services such as fashion, advertisements, product or service, and aerial photography. We also help businesses build their brands from the ground up with complete campaigns that will make your business attractive to your target audience. We can bring your brand to the masses with our effective and strategic marketing campaigns to include sales funnels, eye-catching advertisements, breakthrough digital marketing through social media, and other digital avenues. Visit lucidperspective.com today. You raised $1 million in venture funding, like,
Yeah.
how?
Yeah.
You see the second person we talked to?
Yeah. We talked.
Yeah.
Dawn Dixon did that too. I don't know if it was through venture. It might have been through. I think that was venture, right? Popcom.
No, it was VC money. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that's pretty dope. That's a very lucrative a club that you're in now. How did
Yeah.
that work out? How does it feel?
It's
How
hard.
did you manage
With a
that?
black woman.
It's
Facts.
so fucking hard. It's so hard. It's so hard. My first company, I wanted to raise 750,000, and I only raised 650 after 500 meetings.
Only.
And then, yeah, well, I wanted to raise 750.
True. Okay.
But after 500 meetings, I had 500 meetings before I
Wow.
could raise that money. And then this time around, I guess because people realize that, like, you're crazy enough to do it again. Like, you obviously are, deep into this. So this time it took me 100 meetings and I raised 1.3, which was
Wow.
really
crazy.
awesome. It was
That's
really
cool.
awesome. But yeah, I mean, you just have to put yourself out there, ask a lot of questions, and then ask those people questions. Ask those people for other people that you can ask questions in their network. And you just keep doing that. You just
Wow.
keep cycling. But you do have to put together a pitch deck,
Right.
put together the story, the business plan, everything. And
What are
then
you
you just
asking for?
Presentation.
What are you asking for when you go in there? Like, I don't mind talking to 200, 500, 1,000 people. What am I asking these people, right?
Yeah.
What go ahead.
You got to be a seller. You got to know how to
You
sell.
have to understand what they want. Venture capitalists, what they're looking for is they do this as well, right? Venture capitalists don't just invest their own money. Some do, but the majority don't. They're going out and doing the same thing you do when you go ask them for money. So you have to understand, what are their investors expecting of them? Their investors are expecting that they return 10 times the amount that they invested. So that means, what do I have to do? I, as the investment, now have to show this investor, how are you going to make 10 times your money by giving me money?
That's all they care about.
That's all they care about. And they're just calculating, especially at the younger stage when there's not data. They're just looking at you and saying, okay, how has this person showed that she can deliver 10 times this amount? She started a company before. Yes, she failed, but she knows what it takes. It's hard, so she understands that. She's an investment banker. She has the brain for it. She has the grit for it. This is how they're doing it. But ultimately, what it comes down to is, do you have the grit as a person that's presenting to them to build a company that will give them 10 times the money they invested. That's all they care about.
That's dope. That's like a dope psychology trip. Like you have to get into their head, get into their mind, and then provide them the information that you would want to hear if you were on the other side of that equation.
Yeah.
I think
I
that's
mean,
pretty
that's
dope.
ultimately what it is. Align incentives. That's all it is. Align incentives. You scratch my back, I scratch your back, basically.
Now I'm just thinking like, how can I 10x my own money first? Like, you know, like that's how can I 10x my own money and then prove I done this, then go, all right, give me your money and then watch me do it with your money, right?
Yeah.
Is that the game?
Not necessarily. I haven't 10x my own money. So I'm a huge advocate for not using your own money. Go get somebody else.
That's me, bro. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Bro,
Go
I
get
can't
somebody
stand-
else's money. Don't use mine because ultimately they're out there. It's a lot of money out there.
Right. There's people that
Just
love tax write-offs. They got so much, they gotta find some place to put it. But if
go get
there's a
it.
chance that they can make
Yeah.
some back, and you find those people and you
Yeah.
give them your pitch and you tell them what, that's just pretty dope. I like that.
Maybe
But
they're watching this.
ultimately,
Call us.
Huh?
Maybe they're watching this. Call us.
Call us for what? What are you gonna call us for?
I got plenty of ideas.
Oh,
Plenty.
okay.
A
That's
shit
what's up.
ton.
but ideas don't mean anything. How are you gonna
That work.
execute?
I have ideas all the time.
Ideas don't mean anything. There's a lot to go from an idea to how are we gonna execute this thing. But I mean, I think ultimately, like you have to also remember that yes, you take on investors. That also means that you kind of have a quasi boss in some ways.
Right. You have a obligation.
You
Well,
have an obligation. And you now have to answer to people. You now have to tell people like about their money, like what you're doing with their money. So I mean, it's not all hee hee ha ha.
Right.
It's like
there's
it's
almost
not.
there's an obligation. Generally when they give you a lump sum of money, now you have to deliver something, right?
Yeah.
Um,
And they tax you for it too.
mhm.
It's not like they need to make their 10 times. Hopefully there's enough left over for you to make your 3 times.
Right.
So
That's
like
dope.
for me, it's thinking like, okay, say I sell my company for $100 million. It's likely that I only get, I mean, not only because it's still a lot of money, but I get a fifth of that or a sixth of that, and investors get the remainder. So like they're taxing.
That's true. That's definitely true. That's something to think about
So is
too.
it worth it?
I think it's worth it. Yeah, I live my life exactly how I want to live my life. I'm building shit I really care about, and it's awesome. It's
I
really
think that's
awesome
dope. I think that's
for
super
me.
dope.
And I think the next time I do it, then I probably won't even take investors. I won't have to. So we'll
There you
see.
go. Then use your own
Maybe
money.
I'll get to be the investor, which is amazing. I get to invest in people that look like me. How
Facts.
amazing would that be?
That's dope.
It sounds like you really believe in yourself. You know how to convey that to other people, right? Like, it doesn't matter if other people believe in you sometimes. A lot of times it doesn't matter. Other people believe in you. They tell you how great you are. If you don't see it for yourself, right? If you're not your own source, you understand that your own cup is, runneth over for a reason, right? Like, it's gonna be super hard to get other people to do that, to believe in you and see that in you if you can't. So
True.
I definitely can see that you know how to do that.
I mean, yeah, if
And-
you don't have conviction, why would someone else have conviction?
Right. The confidence. Yeah, that's dope. That's how you getting that money. You're doing dope. I'm going to write in my book today. I'm going to find some lists that I want to be listed in, and I'm going to write that. And we're going to check back in a year, or 6 months to a year. We're
6
going to
months,
see
yeah.
6 months to a year. But I think that's dope. Venture capitalists, like all that big money stuff. I've never had dreams of doing pitches or standing in front of people and trying to get their money. I've never had an idea that I think warrants that, but I think that would be super dope. I don't know if we don't have anything. I have an app idea. I have some things that I'm working on and stuff, but it's not something that I would have to take 500 meetings for at the moment. Maybe something will come to me. I don't know, but
I mean, everyone has their own role. Like, I mean, for me, I didn't dream that I didn't even know this was a potential lifestyle I could have. I had no idea. I just kind of fell here and realized like, hey, I'm actually a good match for this. Yeah, but I had no idea.
Are you doing dope? You killing it. You're definitely killing it.
I looked at social media earlier, and then they were kind of. Are you posting on social media? Because I haven't seen any roast. Yeah, I think so.
No, I'm not a big social media person.
No.
Yeah, I'm kind of, I mean,
Do you
Anti.
think? Do you think it's
I'm not,
important for your business?
huh?
Do you think it's important for your business?
I have my business's social medias,
Mm,
and my face is on those. But in
mhm.
terms of my personal life doesn't need to be out there. Um,
That's dope. I
it
commend
doesn't
that.
really, yeah, I mean, I have an Instagram and every now and then I'll post something, but like for me, it's just not my thing. And that's okay.
Yeah, that's dope. A lot of times it does get there's a lot of
Fluff.
especially us us now being podcasters, like especially with the podcast, trying to create content and put it out and like
Yeah.
keep it on the business. Now it's bleeding into like my personal Instagram and posting stuff and all that. Look, my phone going off. It can get inundating. But I feel you on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Feel you on it.
it depends on the person. It's just not my style. And it
Mhm.
kind of comes back to this whole conviction thing. It's
Right.
like just lean into the person you are and lean into the people that lean into you. And you'll be fine. But like I'm just not a social media person. I refuse to do it. It doesn't add anything to my life.
Facts.
So I just leave it. Leave it for
Okay.
someone else.
So
Like the
where would you
podcasters. You guys do
right.
it.
Right. That's where would you see yourself in 5 years from now in regards to your current path with ESG?
Yeah.
What is the goal? What are you envisioning? What are you gonna write in your book tomorrow that's gonna come true?
5 years from now, I may still be building this company, or
Bro.
maybe I'll be building another company. I just see
Oh,
myself as a serial entrepreneur. I
thanks.
love building. Like you talk to my boyfriend, and he would tell you like this woman's never gonna retire. Like he can't even take me away from my computer sometimes because it's just really
Dope.
fun. It's really, really fun for me. It gives me energy. So I don't know. I think I'll be either building ethically or I'll be building something else. And who knows where I'll be living, but yeah,
I'm
we'll
gonna be in
see.
Miami. I know that much. MIA on the way.
So,
Um,
what are some words of advice or wisdom for entrepreneurs who get started who want to pursue an ESG type of endeavor?
Yeah, I'm gonna come back to this point, but like just lean into you.
mm,
Lean into you and the problems that resonate with you that you want to
mm,
tackle, and you think that you can offer a unique perspective. Like do
that's
those,
dope.
because those ones are the ones that are going to continue to light you up. Like why you guys are doing this podcast, it's probably because you get on to do this podcast because you love it. Like you're not doing because someone tell you to do it. So like just
True.
find those things that light you up, and ultimately I think really the money comes after. And
That's facts.
yeah,
That's
I
real.
guess.
We started this podcast because we was trying to figure shit out. And when we came up with the name, was just figuring shit out. There it is, right there. Let's do it. Okay, here we are, figuring shit out. That's
Right.
dope.
I love it. No, I love it.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
exactly. And you'll always have energy for it because like it's 9 o'clock right now. It is
Right.
way beyond work hours. And you guys are sitting here.
Right.
Yeah, let's do a 9 o'clock podcast, like,
Right. And we're doing a midnight one in a couple days. So
Right.
right. Yeah. Just find the
That should
things
be
you
fire.
love. Yeah.
yeah, no, this is dope. So this is pretty dope. I love this conversation. Thank you so much for coming on. If somebody wanted to get in touch with you, I guess on the business side, can you share your business, your website, your business socials, and where they can reach you
Yeah.
professionally?
Yeah, totally. You can find us at join ethically, ethically spelled correctly.com. You
Correctly.
can email me if you want to figure any shit out with me. I'm happy to give my time. I'm happy to talk through anything. I love helping. I mentor a lot, so I love it. You can reach me at Jada, Jada, at joinethically.com. And if you're on socials, you can find my business, Join Ethically, on every single channel. And then we're also in the App Store. So look for Ethically Shopper in the App Store and download, please.
Dope. I'm gonna get that right now. I'm
Hey,
gonna definitely do that.
I downloaded
Well,
it earlier.
Oh,
No,
that's what's up.
thanks.
Well,
I didn't see
Thanks.
what
thank
it's
you.
about.
We're in beta, so be gentle, but
We're both app owners, so we get it. I got to
Yeah,
run.
yeah,
I'm still working on mines and the testing. My issue is the testing on Apple. Like Android, I could test, but Apple, I don't have Apple. I don't
yeah, it's
necessarily
tough.
like iPhone. I hate Macs.
Yeah,
So it's like it's forcing me to have to learn and test on there or whatever. But that's
yeah.
been my hold up with my app. But we understand the
It
struggles.
takes a lot. Yeah, it takes a lot. It takes so much, but it's good. We'll be all right. We have a new update coming in probably tonight or tomorrow, so you guys can play with it tomorrow.
Cool.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. This was definitely a dope conversation. We'd love to have you again.
Yeah,
5 years, see where you are. 1 year, see where I am.
$1
I'll be on
billion
a list.
business.
I'll be on somebody's list. How about
you'll
that?
be on somebody's list.
Facts. All right. All
No,
right.
thank you guys so much. I love this. I love the space you create. Like it's really important
It is.
to create
Thank you.
space for people to like figure shit out. Like because we don't
I
have it
know.
all figured out.
We
No, we
do
don't.
not. We do not. And we've learned a lot from all the people we've talked to, interviewed.
Right, definitely.
We've grown so much from starting this, 10, 11 months ago. We're about to be a year in a couple months.
Wow.
So
Nice.
yeah, it's going crazy. It's going good. We definitely having fun. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks,
Have
guys.
a great night,
Have a good
and we'll
one.
talk to you soon.
Yeah,
right.
definitely. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.